Most people don't have anger issues. They have bodies that were trained to stay quiet too long. Facts. Hi. Welcome to the Coming Home to You Sparkcast. Trained to stay quiet. All right, let's mute myself on the live stream here. We're live streaming on YouTube. So if you ever want to join us live, 10 a.m. YouTube. Let's go at the Soul Spark Sanctuary. Hi, welcome to the Coming Home to You Sparkcast, the Embodied Leader. This is a space for soul-led women, especially mamas, who are done outsourcing their authority and ready to come home to themselves. This month, we're exploring sovereignty as love. Last week, we started with the mind. Today, we're moving into the body because sovereignty doesn't become real until your nervous system feels safe enough to hold the truth. This episode is not about fixing your relationship, fixing yourself. You're not broken. Okay, let's get that squared away. First off, it's about listening to your body when it already knows and what happens when we override it. So here's something no one told me about healing. If you had to become intense to be seen, your body learned that visibility requires activation, not truth. Let that land. And sovereignty is learning how to stay in your body without proving your worth. Have you ever noticed your body reacting before your mind catches up? There's maybe tightness in your chest. Maybe you clenched your jaw. Maybe your breath became shallow. Maybe there's heat moving up your spine in your hands. Maybe your heart starts racing. It's that moment when your body says, no, no, run. But your mouth says, wait, let me explain. Wait, I want to be understood. You need to know my truth. So how this shows up for me in moments of uh, confrontation, my throat starts to get tight because I'm swallowing my truth. My heart starts to tighten. My chest area starts to tighten because my energy is going inward, protecting itself. My nervous system is saying, there's something here that is overriding you feeling safe in this moment. And then instead of regulating myself, instead of doing what I have to do to get back into my truth and my sovereignty, remember, sovereignty is about stillness. Sovereignty is about knowing your truth without over-explaining. Sovereignty doesn't have to be understood or explained away. It is the becoming of you being still and knowing and standing your firm. It's not abandoning yourself. It's about knowing that you get to regulate and land in your truth. Like oftentimes we want to explain ourselves and say, no, 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 you totally misunderstood me. That is not what I meant to do. Well, that person's not going to hear you, especially because when you're activated and your body is giving you all those signals that say you get to regulate because you don't feel safe, you're overwhelmed right now, it's going to overreact. It's going to explode. It's going to do whatever it takes to prove that you're worthy, that you matter, that your feelings are valid. But sovereignty and embodied leadership tells us that in that moment, pause, take a breath, discerning between what needs to be said in this moment. Am I trying to be right? Am I needing to be heard? Or do I get to just walk away because we both need to regulate and we're not going to hear each other right now? And so this showed up for me all week. It shows up for me a lot, actually. I actually thought I had a problem with anger until I realized I have been snuffing my truth for so long, dimming my light, peace, trying to keep the peace, that it would come out in explosions. It would come out in moments that looked like anger. But underneath all of that was really fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of not being seen, fear of being misunderstood. I used to always say, God, nobody understands me. Well, be careful what you say, because the things that you protest are the things that you're definitely manifesting and you're calling to your awareness as truth. Words spell cast. So be careful what you say. If you don't want to manifest that, be very mindful of the words that you choose. And we get so stuck in focusing on the things that we don't want without realizing that that's that very same action. We're calling more of the things that we don't want into our awareness and into our field because we're tuned into that radio station. Imagine your thoughts like a radio station or a channel that you're watching or a social media that you're plugged into all the time. If you don't like the content, then shift the channel. Change the channel. Watch something that's going to uplift you. And that's the same thing with your mind. So it's that moment of discernment when you realize that your body feels dysregulated. Your body always speaks before your mind can catch up. It's that tightness, it's that anxiety, it's the sweatiness, it's the that shallow breathing. It's that frustration that starts to build in. So the body speaks in sensation long before the mind can ever find the language for it. So where has your body been giving you information that you've been talking yourself out of? Did you already do it this morning? The truth is our body learns to escalate to be seen. So have you ever realized that for some of us, like me, calm didn't create connection? Let me say that again. Calm did not create connection. Intensity, intensity did. But is that a false truth? So for people who grew up unseen, dismissed, emotionally minimized, the body learns something adaptively, but it's very, very costly. It learns something adaptive, but costly to you. If I stay calm, I disappear. If I don't speak my truth, I've done enough. I'm not worthy. I abandon my truth. If I get loud, people see me, people hear me. I exist, I matter. But intensity becomes a survival strategy. That is not a character flaw. And oftentimes for me, I would judge myself so much after a dysregulated moment where I wanted to be seen and heard, where I over excused or over explained. And the more that the person didn't agree with me, the louder and more intense I got. Does this sound like you? Do you feel broken? Do you feel like, wow, they're right. I am such an angry person. How did I get so angry? But it's not that you're angry. It's not that you're angry. Your body, you just learned, your nervous system learned that in order to exist, you needed to be intense, or else you disappear, or else you don't matter, or else you get ignored and your needs are not met. But that's not a character flaw. It was how you learned how to survive. And there, like I said, there was so much shame and so much blame and judgment that came with it. Not just from the outside of the people who were on the receiving end, but from me. Like how often are you your worst critic? I mean, I sat in that spiral, that shame spiral for so long that it literally became debilitating pain in my hip, holding on to the shame. Oh, yep, I can't get it right. See, there I go again. I did it again. I must be broken. I must be the only one who is not going to have a healing in their life because I keep making the same mistakes. Well, it's because I hadn't understood yet that my body was speaking to me. My body was not feeling safe. And so my mind needed to make sense of it by over explaining. You were not wrong because your body was protecting you. You're not wrong because your nervous system said it's not safe. There I go again. I've been abandoning myself for so many years. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want you to abandon me. So I need to explain myself. Please don't leave. This is really what was going on with me. But embodied sovereignty and sovereignty as love says, I get to not abandon myself. I get to validate myself. I get to hear myself first in my truth so that I can come and speak without having to be understood. When you know your truth, when you stand in your power, there's no reason for you to explain it away. So, what kept you safe once can become what exhausts you later. And that was true for me. It used to always keep me safe, and now it's exhausting because I was just like, this is not how I want to show up. It's not who I am. Why am I still doing this? And so it's about not judging, not shaming or blaming. It's really just standing in curiosity and going, ah, yes, I'm trying to be seen. Where am I not seeing myself in my truth? Where am I not seeing myself in this pain that I feel like I need to scream and yell or numb myself because it's painful? Did you learn that being reasonable didn't get you love, but being emotional did? We might have not had actually thought that we were doing that. Being reasonable didn't get you love, but being emotional did because it gave us attention. Maybe we cried and then that person feels bad, so they come and console us. And we feel seen, we feel held in that moment, but are we being manipulative? Energy doesn't lie. Have you ever confused stillness with shutdown? There's a difference between being still in your truth and then shutting down. Sovereignty in the body doesn't mean swallowing your truth, but it does mean staying quiet to keep the peace, discerning in this moment. Am I trying to be right, trying to be heard, trying to be understood? Is what I'm adding true? Is there value? Will it help the situation? Because if you say no to those, then yes, maybe just staying quiet for that moment to keep the peace because you're not regulated. And one way that I regulated myself was getting grounded. I went to a meeting to be around people. I talked to friends that I can trust to be vulnerable with. I put my feet in the sand at the beach. I put my feet in the water. I took a deep breath. I did small breath works Just a long inhale with a longer exhale, that really tells your body that you're safer in this moment. So it doesn't mean staying quiet to keep the peace. Did I say it the wrong way? It doesn't mean to staying quiet to keep the peace. It means learning how to stay present when your body wants to rescue, prove, defend. So staying present. And sometimes that means going for a walk. Sometimes that means taking a breath. And first off, it means pausing and not reacting, regulating yourself first, listening to your body. Is it your throat that is closing up? Maybe doing vocal toning will help open your throat chakra so you can speak your truth, but from a regulated place, not from an activated space that wants to defend and explain yourself away. And that looks like just going, hum, vocal toning. Do you feel it tightening in your heart, in your chest area? I like to kind of rake and open that energy. Maybe you feel so frustrated. You're like, oh, I just feel bottled in. I feel like I'm about to explode. You know what helps for that? Shaking it out, stomping, and just releasing it to earth, letting the floor feel what you've been through, just releasing it and letting it go. These are all things that I went and did to regulate myself, to stay present. When my body wants to rescue itself, when my voice wants to be heard, when I want to defend myself, improve my worth. And when I don't respond immediately or react immediately, I'm able to come back from a regulated place and my words land powerfully and people hear me without feeling attacked, without over explaining myself, without excusing myself for my actions. But I got to tell you, like, I still am learning to listen to those cues from my body that are telling me, okay, we get to pause right now. I'm getting overwhelmed. Something is happening. I'm not feeling safe. I'm feeling attacked. I'm feeling whatever feeling. It felt unfamiliar. And then now I'm realizing, oh, there it is. There's the cue. There's the cue. I need to pause and be in my stillness. Stillness does not mean erasure or self-abandonment. It really means loving yourself enough to just land in your body and get yourself to a place where you feel safe again, safer at least. And stillness is not passivity, okay? It's not passivity. I'm telling you again, it's not you bending over and going, okay, I'm gonna let you do whatever you want to do or say whatever you want to say. No, it's actually power that no longer needs permission. What? Yes, it's power that no longer needs permission. So what happens in your body when you don't immediately react? It's time to start noticing what happens in your body when you don't immediately react. Does it want to go for a walk? Does it want to shake? Does it want to hug itself? This is a trauma response as well that helps you calm yourself, giving yourself literally a hug and going, and then maybe seeing 5 things you can see, 4 things you can, uh, 2 things you can see, whatever they say to do to get you into the now moment, in the present moment, back into your body. And for me, that's always the breath. It's the first immediate tool I have at my disposal that is going to get me immediately into my body. Have you ever noticed that the urge to over-explain comes with a physical sensation? tightening. I want to over explain. Yes, tightening. Maybe I speed up my words. Anxiety almost. A need to be understood right now in this moment. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and in this crazy loop until I feel like my words land and I am heard. That's your nervous system. That's your nervous system asking, begging to be soothed, not necessarily heard. And that's not intuition telling you to speak either. Your intuition not saying you need to explain yourself is actually your nervous system asking to be soothed and not necessarily heard, but by you. No one else can soothe your nervous system. No one else can truly hear you but you. I used to justify my actions too to feel safe. Like, oh my gosh, I did this because you did this. I said that because you said this. Oh my gosh. Well, aren't we just perpetuating the problem? No one makes you do anything. It was my choice in how I respond and react. And if I'm responding and reacting from a space of dysregulation, then I'm no better than the person that is sitting in front of me, judging me and pointing fingers at me. But I realized that my over explaining was about regulation. I needed to regulate my nervous system. Not that it was truth. So the next time you feel the urge to explain, I want you to do one thing. First, take a breath and then put a hand on your chest and the other in your belly and slowly exhale. And then ask yourself, what am I trying to protect right now? What am I trying to protect right now in this moment? And just get curious without judging. Just allow whatever comes up to come up. What are you protecting in this moment? And then do you have to be right? Do you have to be understood? If you know your truth, you don't have to have others understand you, especially when you're dysregulated, because it's not going to land. This is, if you're going to hear anything today, this is like when you're in anger, when you're activated and your nervous system is in fight, flight, or freeze, fawn response, not your words are not going to land because the energy is not going to lie. And people are going to feel like it's not true. So where in your life are you still explaining your worth to people who benefit from not understanding you? Let me say that again because that is an important question to ask. Where in your life are you still explaining your worth to people who benefit from not understanding you? Sometimes it's discerning whether or not that relationship is even worth you going through that motion. If you're explaining yourself, maybe the best thing and the biggest thing you can do is just walk away, knowing your truth. That's power. Sovereignty, taking back your power and authority. Because I didn't realize that every time I made other people wrong for why I was reacting and acting a certain way, I kept giving away my power. Well, I did this because this person did that. I started this because that person did that. Well, I'll feel this way because this is how they treat me. Or this is what they said, and it got me to get defensive. And so now I'm sitting here like being a crazy lady, yelling and being angry because they said something, and I'm literally giving away my power. That's not sovereignty. That is not sovereignty, and that is not embodied leadership. So take back your power and know that you don't have to explain yourself to to know your worth, to be valued. Modeling is the best thing you can do in moments of activation. And it's going to look messy because your nervous system, your body, we haven't been trained. We haven't been taught what it even looks like or sounds like or feels like. And so these are the subtle little cues your body is telling you, hey, wait, something here is not feeling safe. So just acknowledging it, just becoming aware and choosing to do whatever it takes for you to get regulated. Have you ever noticed how your body feels after certain conversations? Because the body knows when a container can't hold you anymore. It feels like chronic tension. Maybe it's fatigue. You're like, oh my gosh, this is like an energy vampire. This person just sucked my energy dry. Maybe you feel emotional volatility because that person, all they did was complain and about the world and how everything is going wrong. And it's the same story they've been telling you for the last 10 years of your friendship. The same story. And you're just like, oh my gosh, this person just get out of its own way, man. Just get out of your own way. Maybe you feel shame after speaking to them. For whatever reason, you're like comparing yourself. You're like, oh, I just feel so much shame. I feel like they made me feel bad about myself. Maybe the sense that you have to contort yourself to stay connected to them. Have you done that? I know so many times that I've contorted myself to where I was like, who said that? What's, did I make that sound? Like, who was that? I didn't even recognize myself. I was like, ooh, why did I say that? Oh, yeah, I'm trying to keep connection. And I become like a chameleon to fit in, to maintain connection. I abandon my needs. And that eventually can put me in a position of not being safe. But the truth is, that's not failure. That's just information. That's information for you to just sit and ponder. Yeah, I feel super exhausted after having this conversation with this person. What was that about? Oh yeah, I notice this person's always doing this and I'm overextending myself or I abandon myself or I people please. Like just notice. That's information. Okay? So I know that when I am around conversations where are uplifting, oh my, right, like I feel like I'm on cloud nine. I feel seen, not just seen from me, but I was just like, wow, there's so many beautiful people in the world actually causing and creating change in the world who are in giving generosity, and that uplifts me. That expands me. And so those are the people that I want to spend more time around because I notice an expansion within my own capacity. But if a relationship or a conversation or a place that you go to leaves you feel contracted, smaller, like you're dimming your light, just get curious. What was in the gap there? What why, right? Like sometimes clarity is followed by exhaustion. Like you have clarity, but then you're like, oh, I'm just so exhausted. I just feel like too much. And we often chase clarity. We often chase it to the point where it's like, I just need clarity. What? To the point where the clarity is landing in your body. You're just not paying attention. The clarity lands in your body first before your mind catches up. And the truth is, your body doesn't need clarity. It needs consent. It needs consent to express. to release, to be held, to move, to breathe, to expand. Oh, just keep having these like, I need like these big breaths because this, as I say it out loud, is just landing so powerfully in my body because it's reminding me of everything that's happened this week. So, what is your body telling you about where you're no longer meant to brace? Because oftentimes your body is just sitting contracted like this, waiting for the other shoe to fall. Like it's bracing because you're walking on eggshells. And so, never feel safe to really express, to really be in sovereignty, to take your power back. So, what is the one thing you can do today to give that signal to your body that it's safer to open up, to release, to let go? Because sovereignty is as love in the body is when you stop abandoning yourself for peace. It's when you let your body lead, not your fear of being misunderstood. Fear is such a motivator. Fear shows up as anger. Fear can also show up as frustration. But the truth is, you get to let your body lead moving forward. This is what it feels like in your body. And not letting your fear override what your body is signaling to you. So when you realize that you don't have to prove to be, you don't have to be louder, okay? You don't have to prove yourself by being louder to be real. You don't even have to prove to be worthy. I keep trying to prove my worth by over-explaining myself. Look, I'm human. I made a mistake. I just felt not seen and so much shame. You have to understand, like, please see that I'm worthy of your love. I'm giving away my power when I do that. Instead of seeing my own worth, valuing myself for all the things that I'm doing right and all the things that I'm doing wrong, because it's in the failures that I learn more about myself and more about the world and more about what's not working. And you don't have to stay where your body is always bracing. You don't have to stay where your body is always bracing. So what that looked like for me was choosing regulation over having to react. And sometimes it looks like abandonment because I have to go for a walk. Sometimes it looks like erasure, like I'm ignoring because I'm putting on music so that I can move and regulate. But I noticed that my energy started lifting when I honored what my body needed. That my mindset was open because I was listening to what my body needed. I would even go and hug a tree and be in gratitude. So feeling grounded out and is really great way of releasing the need to feel righteous. So when I can ground myself, I let go of the need of to feel like I need to be heard. And that comes off as righteous to people when you're dysregulated. So when I learn how to ground myself, how to take a breath, how to move, how to put on music, how to dance, how to even go and scream. Sometimes I have to scream it out because it's just bottled so much. And that's voice activation as well. primal screaming really helps to release that rising frustration and anger that comes from fear. So sovereignty is love that knows when to stay and when to step back. That's what it looks like. Sovereignty as love is knowing when to stay and when to step back. So what would change in your life if you trusted your body more than other people's approvals? How different would that look? How different would your life be right now if you trusted your body and listened to your body more than having to be approved and liked and wanted and loved by other people? How would your life even change if you gave yourself the approval, you gave yourself the love, you gave yourself the understanding that you want to get from others? That's sovereignty. That's claiming your power, reclaiming your power. And don't think you're going to get it right doing it once. It is a devotional practice. It is not a destination. It's a journey of coming home to yourself and choosing you moment after moment after moment. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going to get it right every time. And that's okay. That's okay. The key is when you get into embodied leadership and sovereignty as love is when you start to recognize those moments and shift. Those moments and shift. Oh, get curious. Get neutral about the curiosity. Like, don't judge or criticize yourself or don't place any blame or shame. Just get curious as to what was there. And you're like, oh, yeah, that thing again. Hmm. Why did that? Oh, yeah, because I said yes when I didn't, when my body didn't say yes. I said yes, even though my body said no. And I'm trying to explain myself instead of keeping and staying in my power, being still with it and discerning. Am I trying to explain myself to be seen and understood? Like, I don't have to do that. That's sovereignty as love. Loving yourself enough to be in the stillness long enough to regulate and let the truth land. So if this is landing for you, it's because this isn't my story. It's not my story. It's a human one. And sovereignty doesn't start in your voice. It starts in your nervous system. So sit with this. Next week, we'll move into the soul, where sovereignty becomes devotion, intuition, and purpose. So I will leave you with one final reflection. Where is your body asking for honesty? What are you done bracing for? And what would safety feel like if you didn't have to earn it? What would safety feel like if you didn't have to earn it? Well, I hope that this week's Sovereignty as Love in the Body was a conversation that you were ready to receive. And if you're going to take away anything from today's episode, it is this. You matter. You're worthy. You're exactly where you're meant to be. You're not behind. My name is Margarita Rose. I am your host. The Coming Home to You Sparkcast, the Embodied Leader series. We'll see you next week when we talk about the soul here at the same time and the same Spark channel. Take care of yourself.